What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to a Kit Bash Customs video. In this one, I have a treat for you guys. I just picked this up. I don't even think it's out yet, but we have the military action figure. When I saw this one, I just had to buy it. I actually got it as a gift, Christmas gift. This is my figure of the year right here. Grail acquired. See, I haven't even unboxed it yet. I'm just joking. That's not the video. This is today's video. So in this one, I have my Mezco Deadpool that I modified. I put the Volume 2 Star-Lord boots on him because I didn't like the boots the Mezco one came with, the original boots. I like the design and all, but he had duck feet. Not duck feet, but his feet were really long for no reason. It just didn't make any sense to me, and they didn't pivot, and they didn't do what I wanted them to do. So I just swapped these on, and I don't even know what made me try these. I was honestly looking for boot replacements, and I do really like the Volume 2 Star-Lord boots. So what I did was I heated them up, and because there's a big joint in here, there's a big peg for the regular Mezco stuff. So I heated it up. And I popped it on, and it was kind of a loose fit. Not loose, it was like a wobbly fit. So I took a Dremel. I should have popped this boot off to show you. But I took a Dremel, and I didn't Dremel the lip, but I Dremeled like right under the lip. Barely, like probably two passes. And it was enough for the peg, the mushroom peg in here to catch. So it still retains full articulation. It doesn't come off or anything. Like I'm pulling down right now and it's not popping off. But it still retains full articulation. It does a 360. It does everything it's supposed to do, and it looks pretty good to me. And I painted the red and the gray because I know the original boot was gray on the front with some red hits on it. So I just wanted to mimic the look a little bit. I think I executed pretty well the look of it, and they both rotate and do the same thing. So I think I mimicked the look pretty well, and these boots execute exactly what I was going for, which is they have the wrinkles. I'm all off camera. Dropped the gun. They have the wrinkles and everything, so they look like someone's wearing them. But they also look tactical to me. The front of the boot has buckles and everything, so they look pretty good. They look like someone's wearing them, like I said. I probably could have did a little more detail. I probably could have. I do want to add a wash to them just to make them a little dirty and put some scuff marks on them and whatnot. But I like the look of these boots a lot. These boots really tie this figure together more for me. This is actually one of my favorite Mezcos, and people think I'm crazy when I say it. But personally, since I modified it with the boots, this is one of my top Mezcos because it's so simple, and he does what Deadpool is supposed to do. There's not a lot of option parts. There is an extra head with a squinted eye, but that's only for expressive poses. But as far as it goes, this is like one of the dopest Mezcos to me. And I also crossed the swords. I wasn't a fan of the straight up and down swords. So I took it upon myself to pop them off the back. And I shaved down the back. I don't know if you can see it in there. Probably not because the lighting's terrible. But I shaved down where they pegged into the harness. And I shaved down the back of the swords. And I took this back sword here, this one. I took this one and I Dremeled out the middle of it. I just took my Dremel and went really, really deep, and I Dremeled really deep down into the sheath, and it's crazy because I thought the plastic was gonna go through, but it didn't. Like even when I Dremeled, the only parts that showed was like these. You see the little indent on the sheath right there, this little lip right here. Once you Dremel down far enough, because there's like an inner. It was weird to me because there's like an inner sheath inside of here that actually holds these. And once I Dremeled it down, you see that inner sheath, and it didn't go through that plastic. So I was pleasantly surprised when I got all the way down to the plastic that it did that. And I Dremeled down so far so these would sit semi flush. They're not completely flush to the back, but they're okay. They look good. You could tell they're uneven. If you look at it long enough, you could tell one that's a little bit higher than the other. But I think as far as functionality goes and practicality goes, it looks pretty good. And then the crosses, that's typical Deadpool right there. Some of the newer comics he has straight up and down or whatever, but for me, the cross swords are the best. That's the best option to go with. But yeah, this is my modified Deadpool. I really like this figure. It's one of my favorite Mezcos besides my Commander Rogers. I probably just show that too. I modified him a little bit. I modified my Commander Rogers a little bit because I did not like his harness or his shield. I don't like the hard light shield. It just didn't do it for me. But pull off to the side there. If I put him on camera. I modified the shield. I just gave him an MCU shield and I painted it silver. Just to give him a look like he gave up the colors on the shield. I took off the white stuff on mine. Because if you have this figure or had this figure, whatever. Excuse me. Because if you had this figure or have this figure, a lot of times the deco is crooked. Like mine, the circle around the star was really crooked and the lines didn't line up on the shoulders. So I just took some Purell. I took some of this right here. And I just let it soak into the... You let it soak into the fabric and you let it sit for like 5 minutes. And then you can take some tweezers and peel it right off. I should probably do a review, a tutorial, but I don't have anything else I would take off of a Mezco to do it. It's kind of dusty too. But yeah, as far as the harness goes, I didn't like the harness on the chest because it didn't look right. It looked wonky and it just looked weird. So I just took a piece of leather, some leather straps I got from Michael's, and I just I cut a piece long enough to go across his chest to make it look natural. Just to give him more of a like an old-timey backpack look to me. And for the belt, because I think, did I take this suit off? I may have. 1 second. Yeah, I did. I took this suit off and modified his articulation. Did I? I don't think. I may have. Honestly, I can't remember. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I did. I did. That's one thing I like to do too, because in Mezcos, to me, they do weird stuff. They sculpt the whole body under there, and you really don't have to, considering they're gonna have clothes over them. So they don't need, like, they can have the musculature in the shoulders and the arms and the chest, but as far as articulation goes, they can make the articulation look crazy because you'll never see it. So one thing I did, I didn't do it to Deadpool, but I did it to him. I took the suit off and I modified where the ball pegs go, is the areas. So he could actually bend down now. Like a normal Mezco won't bend down that far. And for example, I'm going to show you Deadpool. See if I can get him to stand. Yeah, let me show you Deadpool. So that's Commander Rogers bending over, and then here's Deadpool. And that's at the waist. There's no... his legs aren't bent, so I'm not going to bend Deadpool's. That's at the waist. That's as far as Deadpool goes down. And Commander Rogers is modified, so he goes down a lot more. Prime example of... Mezco's ingenuity, I guess. But I wanted him to be able to articulate is the reason I did it, as you can see. Let me see if I can get him to stand one more time. See if I can get him to stand. But yeah, he's bent over. Let me take the shield off. 1 second. I know it looks funky, but I have him he's hunched over a lot more, and that's the reason I'll take the suit off and put it back on. And like a lot of people say the sewing's crazy, but it's just one seam line that's not really that hard to do. Like that looks like a Mezco stitch, and I did that myself. Like the hardest part, and then the suit and the shirt are the same piece, it's all one piece. So the stitching is not hard. There's a little hole, but the stitching is not hard. You won't rip it or anything. I'm not a proficient sewer by any means. Yeah, I modified his articulation just to give him to move around a little bit more. Just take a Dremel in there. Take a Dremel in there and you just Dremel out the parts that hit the peg when they articulate. And he articulates so much better. Because like before, you wouldn't be able to get him in this pose. And I know he doesn't need to be in the pose I'm about to put him in, but just for you know, kicks and giggles. Just for kicks and giggles, why not? I don't even know where his knife is. His knife falls out of his thing. His knife falls out of the holster a lot, so. Here's Commander Rogers all posed up, though. And now he can actually hide behind his shield. Like before, with the little hard light shield, is probably as big as the second circle. So the hard light shield doesn't have this outer circle here. Just the inner, and it just looks dainty and small and silly to me, so. I looked up pictures and everything of this guy, and I wanted him to look a little bit comic accurate. So I just, I mean, not to say he doesn't have the hard light shield in the comics, but there's versions of Captain America with just a silver shield because he gave up. Like there's one point in the comics where he gives up being Captain America. He pretty much gives up on America, and he becomes, I think he becomes Nomad. I thought he was U.S. agent, but that's somebody else apparently. But he becomes a character called Nomad, and Nomad wears this this wacky looking costume. It's kind of what happened in Infinity War with Cap, when he became pretty much he gave up the shield to Tony in Civil War, so he became technically, they called him Nomad Captain America. But in the comics, he becomes Nomad, drops the red, white, and blue, and he just rocks a black suit with I think he still uses his shield. He maybe goes back to a World War I shield, I think. Whatever era he was in. The 40s, I think that was World War. The 40s might have been World War II. I'm not a historian, excuse me. But yeah, he drops all the colors, and I wanted to give him classic shield, colorless, so that's what I did with him. Modified articulation on him. The waist especially. I think I did the legs too, but the legs, the way the leg is, it's like a figure art. The newer figure arts have, it's like a ball here, and it just rotates up and down, so the articulation wouldn't have changed even if I shaved down the legs. I did that with my Arsenal. I took the suit off and shaved down a lot of the body because he's a really agile character, and he's supposed to flip and do all kind of stuff, so it made sense. I was gonna do it to Deadpool, but I didn't start modding the bodies till after I had glued his harness. His harness is glued to not to his body, but his harness is glued to itself. Like these Deadpools have breakage on the harnesses here when they rotate, because the harness here, can you see what I'm talking about? This little buckle right here is usually a peg, a mushroom peg, and the holster. This gun holster clips on the inside, but it usually breaks. And one of mine broke, so I took it upon myself to cut the mushroom peg off, and I glued it to itself. I probably should have did a video on it, just so you people could see it, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. If you don't, just leave me a comment. But yeah, I cut the mushroom peg and I glued it to itself, so it would stick. And then I had to break once because I forgot I glued it, and I did some weird stuff and it popped off, but easy fix. But I glued the harness on because the harness is already a pain to take off by itself. I don't know how people do it unless they're cutting it apart. And I wasn't going to cut it because I really like this harness. I like this harness a lot. It looks really good on Deadpool. I know people like the one that goes up the middle and goes around. The one that's on the X-Force one, I don't like that harness at all. But, yeah, these are my modified Mezcos. The only two that I have left. The only two that are staying with me. I won't sell them. I don't think anybody will buy them anyway. But I wouldn't sell them even if I had an offer. So just modified Mezcos. I like modifying my toys. That's mainly what I do with these figures. Like I get them. I know in my last video I was saying how if Hasbro makes it, I give up. But that's not entirely true. I usually take what Hasbro makes and I modify it to my specifications, the way I want it to be. And I go from there. But if I'm doing a whole entire figure that's not modified, like from a costume or character, and Hasbro makes it, that's when I say I'll just wait for that one. Because I feel like there's no point for me to make, for instance, like if I was going to do a custom Deadpool, there's no reason for me to customize a Deadpool when Hasbro's going to drop a Deadpool. So that's just what I meant by that. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think about these modified Mezcos. Maybe I'll do a video on how I take the suits off and modify them. Maybe. Only because I don't mind sewing, but I'd rather not. But I might. There's not a lot of videos on it, so I might do it. Stay tuned for the Hulkbuster video. That's coming next. The sanding joints video is next too, so just stay tuned for all of that. Thanks for watching.